Tonight on Newswatch, winter weather is here in Southeast Ohio. Our lead forecasters have the latest on tonight's conditions and how you can stay safe.
Plus, a local restaurant is closing its doors after 12 years of service.
And in sports, Ohio men's basketball heads to South Carolina for the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Newswatch starts right now.
At the start of a cold night here in Athens.
Communities across Southeast Ohio saw the first snow of the season, and temperatures are well below freezing. Thanks for joining us. I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Rosie Wong. With snow melting in the region, officials are warning people of ice that could form on the road. Forecaster Steve Nedlick is here in studio with more on what we can expect tonight.
But first, we want to go out to lead forecaster Emily Dietz, who is live in Athens with more on current conditions. Emily, hopefully you're keeping warm out there.
We're certainly trying to keep warm out here. We have a lot of layers on, and there's actually some hot chocolate being sold behind us, and I might have to go get some. Now, earlier today, we saw a lot of that snowfall. It was really heavy, and right now we just have a couple of flurries, so it still is snowing a little bit, but it certainly isn't sticking. But it is making the ground pretty wet, and those wet grounds, especially those roads, can create hazardous conditions. Officials recommend that you make a plan in case of any severe weather. They also say it's important to have an emergency kit ready in case of a power outage or if you need to leave your home quickly. The National Weather Service says it's important to also have an emergency kit in your vehicle in case you get stranded. The Weather Service says the first snowfall of the year can create hazardous conditions. They ask drivers to take it slow and leave enough space between you and the vehicle in front of you. Officials also say to avoid roads that haven't been treated yet, especially on your morning commute tomorrow, as these temperatures continue to drop below freezing. You're going to want to watch out for any black ice or any icy patches. Reporting live for Newswatch, I'm Emily Dietz in Athens, Ohio.
Thanks, Emily. Stay warm out there.
Now, Steve, what are we looking at for the rest of the night?
Yeah, guys, it's going to be pretty dicey the rest of the night, as a majority of the lower half of Ohio is dealing with a hazardous weather outlook, which means we could see winds 35, 40 miles an hour. And again, that black ice is always a possibility on the road with these type of temperatures. As you can see here, this has been brought on by this low front that has come in and brought with it a lot of precipitation in the form of snow, mixed rain, and that's really given us this, wintry feel as opposed to what we've been seeing over the past few weeks. So again, be on the outlook through tomorrow and into the weekend for this wintry weather. You can see that this this air is being pulled down from Canada, and that's really giving us this cold air, 30s, 40s. It's really a far cry from what we were seeing in the 50s and 60s just last week. As for tonight, again, 30-degree temperature low, and again, those chances of snow is always in the area tonight, so make sure if you're going anywhere to give yourself a few extra minutes when you're driving. Stay tuned for our full weather to find out more.
Soul Island Bar and Grill is closing its doors after 12 years of service. Soul Island, located on East State Street, mixed traditional American with South Floridian and Caribbean cuisine. Just hours ago today, owner Tootie Wilson took to Facebook to announce the restaurant's closure. She says financial difficulties had taken a toll on the business, which her family and the local community have been a huge part of.
It's kind of a surprise to me too, because we made it through COVID, which was also really difficult, but it just seems like things have been increasingly harder, especially in Athens. Just the economy, I think, has had a lot to do with it. Labor's higher. Cost of food is higher, everything has gone up, and so I think that the profits have diminished over time.
Wilson says she's not sure what the next step is for her. The restaurant's last day open is Sunday, December 22nd. A group of local 8th graders worked to make the area's history more accessible to the community. Newswatch reporter Sullivan Beach was at the event with more on this dedicated group of students.
If you were driving around Athens last Saturday morning, you might have noticed a big event going on at West State Street Cemetery.
Well, my family and I have lived right around the cemetery for almost 20 years, and we walk through it almost every day. And so we wanted to walk over to learn more about the people buried here and the history that's literally around us every day. And within the first 2 minutes, I learned new things.
The event was hosted by the Andrew Jackson Davidson Club, made up of middle school students from Athens Middle School, who were passionate to teach people about the history of the cemetery. Mackenzie Klein, a middle school student, says it took a team effort and a lot of work to bring fun and education together.
We are a middle school club, AJD. We all research somebody different that has been important to the community, and we decided to share that with everybody. So since a lot of people are buried here at the cemetery, that's why we chose this location, and it's important to know about our history because sometimes in history they made mistakes and sometimes they did awesome things, and you have to know what to repeat in history and what not to repeat.
Tom Winter, another middle school student, says that his interest in history has brought life to the names he's known about in class.
I've always been interested in history, and the Andrew Jackson Davidson Club was a great way for me to learn more about local history and to teach people about local history. Probably people will definitely recognize many people here from the names of the streets are named after many people that have been buried here.
Athens resident Becca Lockman says that this type of history lesson is also easy to share and important to young generations.
To learn a love of history and where you live early on is really important, and I think that empowering them to be the researchers and to be the storytellers and passing on those stories is a really powerful thing that, who knows, there might be some future historians or teachers or artists, who are inspired by this that take that into their future careers.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Sullivan Beach.
How great is it to see how interested those students were in history and how passionate they were to tell those stories to the public. Thank you to the Andrew Jackson Davidson Club for that great event.
Ohio Democrat Marcy Kaptur is heading back to Washington, D.C. after her re-election to the U.S. House of Representatives. Kaptur represents the 9th Congressional District. Her winning margin yesterday meant there was no need for a recount. Kaptur's win against opponent State Representative Derek Marin is the first loss of a Trump-backed candidate in the state. Kaptur is the longest-serving woman in the House's history. Representative Matt Gaetz is withdrawing his nomination for Attorney General. The former Florida congressman said his confirmation was becoming a distraction to the Trump-Vance transition. President-elect Donald Trump says he respects Gaetz' decision. This news comes the same day CNN reported the House Ethics Committee learned of a second sexual encounter with a 17-year-old girl. Sources say the woman testified that she had 2 sexual encounters with Gaetz at one party in 2017. This second sexual encounter had not been previously reported.
National jobless claims are at its lowest level since April. Athens County reports a 4.4% unemployment rate last month. This is slightly above Ohio's rate of 4.3%. Data from the Department of Labor shows the number of people applying for first-time unemployment dropped to just over 200,000. This comes as economists predicted 220,000 filings. Despite the decline in initial claims, there are still 1.9 million people continuing to receive unemployment benefits. Experts say this slowdown is because of employers pulling back on hiring instead of doing mass layoffs.
Are you heading home for the holidays? How new airline procedures are making holiday travel easier.
And next in sports, Ohio men's basketball is in Conway, South Carolina for the Myrtle Beach Invitational as part of ESPN's Feast Week. Check out the highlights and hear from Jeff Bowles and more when we come back.
And snow is in the area. Find out how that impacts your weekend travel next.
Witness one moment when television changed the world.
President Kennedy has been shot.
With eyewitness accounts, an unparalleled compilation of seldom seen footage, and revealing interviews with the reporters who made the news. It's the story of the media and the moment it changed forever. I'm Jane Poley, your host for JFK, Breaking the News.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Xi Jinping wants to restore China to its grand estate.
The rise of the Chinese leader.
She was not afraid to say, we're not giving you the freedoms and rights.
If anyone believes that they can stop China's steady rise, it's probably indulging in fantasy.
And the global implications.
He has chosen to go down the route of consolidating power, the route of nationalism.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Meet Brandon Scott. the young reformer elected mayor of Baltimore.
You cannot go anywhere in Baltimore without seeing the aftermath of gun violence. Most people do not live like this. Why must we?
Battling entrenched powers and rising violence, the measure of his success hangs in the balance. The Body Politic on POV.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
We've had some severe weather move into the area in the form of snow, and that's really started to come down from Canada, and brought down a lot of cold air, and that's what we're going to be dealing with over the next 24 to 48 hours. That has left road conditions pretty dicey, and so you definitely want to give yourself some time heading out the door. Live outside is lead forecaster Emily Dietz. Dietz, what's going on?
Well, it's definitely cold outside. We're feeling a lot of that wind, and it's still snowing. Now, it's certainly not as heavy as it was earlier today. Felt like a snow globe this afternoon. Right now, we've just got a couple of flurries, just enough to say, hey, it's snowing. But taking a look at what's going on tonight, we're definitely going to be see these temperatures dropping. And so with the snow, we're going to see a couple of slick spots on the road, and with those temperatures dropping below freezing, you may even see a little black ice on your morning commute. So we recommend you take extra precautions driving, drive a little extra slow, and make sure you're very aware of where you are going and other drivers on the road in case other drivers may also hit those slick spots. Now, looking at this system and where it's going to develop as we go into this evening, a lot of the system that we were looking at earlier has started to take a dip towards the south-southwest. So Cincinnati is going to be a big area where we're still going to see some of that snowfall, but down here in southeast Ohio and Athens, we're just going to see the edge of the system as it continues to move towards the south, and we're going to see a lot of that near Kentucky, sweeping through West Virginia. So those Appalachian Mountains are certainly going to see a lot of snowfall, and unfortunately for us, we're not going to get the big piles that we were really hoping for, at least I was hoping for. I definitely love seeing a lot of that snow. But tossing it back into you, Steve, what else are we going to be seeing with the system, and how long is it going to last for us?
Days, and that's going to bring with it some colder temperatures that are going to come down from the northern parts of the United States and Canada, and that's going to give us that really cool, chilly air. And that has also been what's given us this hazardous weather outlook, which has been caused by these low temperatures and these freezing conditions. That's allowed for us to have about a majority of the lower half of Ohio be under a hazardous weather outlook. And then into Dayton and Cincinnati, we have a winter storm advisory. So again, just be cautious on your commute tomorrow morning and tomorrow night. And looking into tomorrow, we have temperatures at 46 degrees and 37. Tomorrow, this is going to continue to move out, and that's going to really, that's going to move out due to this high pressure system. And tomorrow night, we're going to have this high pressure begin to continue to move out, and that is going to give us a little bit of a break with higher temperatures as we move into the weekend. Saturday is when this really starts to break up and we get a break from this winter weather, and that is in the form of this low front that's going to come in. It's going to replace it with more clouds, but that's going to give us a break from the chilly temperatures. Again, looking on Saturday, it's going to start to clear out, and that's going to give us a break from these chilly temperatures. Looking into our 7-day outlook, on Monday we have a high of 59 and showers in the area, and a low of 40 and a high of 48 on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to have a high of 44 and a low of 30. And that is going to lead us into a pretty calm week as we head into the next week with temperatures at 59 and 48 degrees. Wednesday, we're going to have rain in the area and temperatures at 44 degrees.
Yeah, so this weather is really cold, to say the least. I remember waking up this morning and seeing all that snowfall. That was something I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it was really sudden.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely gave everyone a shock when it moved through yesterday.
With just 1 week to Thanksgiving, people are getting ready for holiday travel. New airline procedures aim to make the process smoother for flyers. Laura Aguirre has more.
Of their team.
The nation's top transportation and aviation chiefs giving assurances that holiday travel next week will be safe and efficient.
We are ready to ensure passengers can complete the screening process within our established wait times of 30 minutes or less for non-pre-check passengers and 10 minutes or less for pre-check passengers.
Billions of dollars have been awarded to help airports add more check-in counters, build faster security checkpoints, improve baggage claim, make it easier to find your gate.
That extends to the runways, where close calls in a number of cities have made headlines in recent years.
We've also installed approach runway verification systems at more than 74 airport towers. This technology provides audio and visual alerts to controllers if an arriving aircraft is lined up to land on the wrong airport surface.
The FAA is also testing new surveillance systems at some of the nation's busiest airfields, designed to improve situational awareness for air traffic controllers.
Tuesday is forecasted to be our busiest day.
TSA projects around 2.8 million passengers will fly that day. And heads up, if you try to cut the boarding line, American Airlines is unveiling new tech that will sound an alarm if a boarding pass is scanned before its assigned group number is called, and you'll be sent back to your boarding group.
I want to remind everyone that we have a zero tolerance policy for unruly behavior.
Please treat your flight crew with the respect that they deserve.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
All right, guys, a lot to talk about the snow back in Athens, but here in Myrtle Beach right now, I mean, it's as good as it gets. We've got palm trees, the sun's out, I'm wearing short sleeves. It's late November in South Carolina. Ohio men's basketball also here took on Middle Tennessee State earlier today in the Myrtle Beach Invitational, looking to get back on track after dropping 3 of its first 4 games of the season. Noon tip-off in the HTC Center in Conway, South Carolina. Got to get going early. A.J. Clayton showing some tenacity down low. And here he is on the defensive end as well. Gets a steal. Ohio out in transition. The big man, Aiden Hadaway, with the 2-hand slam. Ohio had a lot of momentum early on, but Middle Tennessee State wasn't going to stay quiet for long. Look at the tough finish. They just had tough bucket after tough bucket. Elmore James from the corner. He was hot early on in the first half. Now, late in the first half, final seconds, A.J. Clayton tips it in. Ohio goes down just 1 point in halftime in the second half. From the corner, A.J. Sheldon, show us the guns, young man. That is a 4-point play. Late in the second half, that is a 3-pointer to tie it. Middle Tennessee State forces overtime. Ohio down 2 at the end of overtime. Going for the 3, A.J. Brown, no good. Ohio falls 83-81 to open the Myrtle Beach Invitational. All right, Ohio's now on a 3-game losing streak, lost 4 of its first 5 games to open the season. And the common theme, guys, is that Ohio's really been in it in the second half of these last 3 games, but just kind of fallen just a little bit short. Not really what the team needs to see.
I think, tonight we focused on the first war, the first 4 minutes. Every game that we played, we've given up a lot of points in that first war. I thought the first 10 minutes of the first half we were really good. Second 10 minutes, our activity defensively wasn't there. And, like I said, give them credit. We had a great shot to win it. Great execution by our guys. We talked about going for the win, and we got what we want.
All right, we're going to be right back here at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Ohio now moves to the consolation side of the bracket. Still plenty of time to get back on track. Reporting live in Conway, South Carolina, Grant Kiefer, WOUB.
Next, the Northwest region continues to be hit by storms after a deadly cyclone yesterday. What experts are saying about possible floods.
On Nova, building stuff.
I want to solve a problem that just changes the world.
From climate-friendly air travel.
How do we make a personal helicopter? How do we make them sustainable?
To protecting our oceans.
Coral reefs are in decline, and we want to rebuild them.
The engineer's work is never done. If we can be a part of the solution, it's huge.
Change it on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Masterpiece.
Margaret Schlegel monopolizing my father. She always meant to get her hands on Howard's End.
You too feel lonely.
Horribly.
I've had you here on false pretenses. I am asking you to be my wife.
I won't ask for charity.
This isn't charity.
Dear Miss Schlegel, my circumstances have taken a turn.
Mr. Best, you don't pretend your marriage has been a happy one. Howard's End on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, it's a stellar hour full of objects connected to space exploration.
You realize that space nerds everywhere are going crazy right now.
Oh, my stars.
Thanks, Dad.
You got to be kidding.
Gee.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
I would never believe that.
Don't miss Antiques Roadshow Out of This World.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Cyril, it's snowing.
Well, you just look at that.
We are planning something rather special.
Lights, music.
There's such a lot for you to see.
Have you ever had that feeling? You're exactly where you belong.
Stream classic Call the Midwife specials with PBS Passport, leading up to an all-new holiday special on Christmas Day.
The Pacific Northwest is bracing for another round of severe weather after this week's bomb cyclone brought record-setting winter weather. Amy Kiley has more.
An atmospheric river could bring record floods to California today. It follows deadly wind and blizzard conditions from a historic bomb cyclone off the Pacific Northwest coast yesterday.
First it was cool, but now it's kind of scary.
An atmospheric river is like a fire hose of moisture in the air. A bomb cyclone can work with it, causing days of torrential rain. Forecasters predict the worst flooding around Northern California. Parts of it could get a record 16 inches in 48 hours, with more rain in states farther north and feet of snowfall at higher elevations.
I'm getting sandbags to stop the water from going in the house.
How bad does it get?
It gets pretty bad.
The broader region is still recovering from this week's bomb cyclone. The National Weather Service in Medford, Oregon says it's tied for the most intense ever in that location. Officials say 2 Seattle area women died due to falling trees. This single mother says she's lucky to be alive after one hit her house.
And I just kind of laid there. And then I forgot my cats had left, and I just freaked out.
Some tree removal crews are overwhelmed.
Now the wind and the storm is continuing and coming back around, so it's adding to the mess.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Now we turn to our forecaster, Steve Nedlick. Steve, do you think we'll be seeing any of that rain out here?
It's too far out to tell, as it takes a pretty long time for weather to get from that side of the country to this, but we usually have the Rockies to get in our way, and that should probably break up any impacts we could get from that, so no rain or snow going to come from that for us. Now, looking at California, a bomb cyclone is something that has to do with the pressure of a storm, and it has to do with how quickly the pressure drops in the storm over a 24-hour period. And now that pressure dropped so rapidly that it created extremely strong winds that can be attributed to hurricane-force winds, and that is what a majority of the destruction has been from this storm. It has also dropped about 20% of the rain that comes in this region throughout the entire year in that 48-hour period. And now, additionally, with that rain, there's not a lot of moisture on that ground right now, as in California, you don't get a lot of rain. Now, when you add that much rain to that area, the ground cannot hold all of that moisture, so that is why you get a lot of that flooding, and that is why you are seeing that destruction and those trees down. So it's really not a great situation to be in, but again, we probably aren't going to see anything from that, as there's a lot of topography in the forms of mountains and the Rockies that are going to stop it from getting over to us. So be on the lookout for another one, as the second atmospheric river is usually what makes the most destruction as opposed to the first one. So if there's a second one in the area, that is when stuff will start to get dicey.
The International Space Station is leaking, and 2 space superpowers, Russia and the U.S., are at odds over its severity. The leak was first discovered in 2019, and the rate of air loss hit a new high this year. The leaks are located in a Russian section of the ISS that connects to a docking port for spacecraft carrying critical supplies and crew.
The leaks are located in a Russian section of ISS that connects to a docking port for spacecraft carrying critical supplies and crew. If the football field-sized space laboratory does not remain pressurized and filled with breathable gases, lives of the crew members on board are at risk. Cosmonauts, the Russian term for astronauts, have been working to locate and patch the leaks. While Russia didn't respond to a request for comment, U.S. officials contend the leaking Russian module...
If the football field-sized space laboratory does not remain pressurized and filled with breathable gases, crew members could be at risk. Russian cosmonauts have been working to locate and patch the leaks. It's just weeks after a divisive U.S. presidential election, but only 1 week away from Thanksgiving. Some may be feeling worried about gathering with people who may have voted differently. Experts advise Americans need quality time with loved ones and should not let politics stop you from getting together.
Still ahead, Christmas is coming to D.C. The National Christmas Tree is heading to the Capitol just in time for the holidays.
We have existed in our lands since time immemorial. Wild horses and the Lakota roam and flourish together.
We evolved with them. We created a relationship based on a human and a spiritual being.
The horse is the missing link. It enabled them to make the highest expression of nomadism. They did become, in a real sense, centaurs. The horse and the man were one entity on the plains.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
This is the PBS Video app. Install it on your phone, tablet, smart TV, or other streaming device, and use it to access more of the PBS shows you love. But if you're looking for even more shows to binge like this, or early access to shows like this, then look for this icon. That's the PBS Passport icon, and it means that video is part of PBS Passport. Passport is our way of saying thank you to our station members. Donate to your local PBS station today, and one of the member benefits you'll receive is PBS Passport, which offers extended access to a growing library of new and favorite PBS programs. You can support your station and your community by becoming a member today. Visit pbs.org/getpassport for details. Watch PBS Passport anytime on any screen, wherever you stream. It's your ticket to the best of PBS.
Apple Music names Billie Eilish the 2024 Artist of the Year. Along with her recent 7 Grammy nominations, Oscars, and Golden Globes, Eilish says she's humbled by this recognition. The singer was also the inaugural winner in 2019. Apple says the 20-year-old's music has a cultural impact on women and little girls around the world. In particular, her songs What Was I Made For, which was featured in the Barbie movie. The selection process for Apple's Artist of the Year takes about 6 months for the editorial team of 8 to 10 people.
Now, I know that Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet, but it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Dover Air Force Base kicked off the holiday season with a special visit from the U.S. Capitol Christmas tree. This 80-foot Sitka spruce is on a 4,000-mile journey from Alaska's Tongass National Forest to Washington, D.C. It has already traveled 800 miles by barge and 3,200 miles by truck. The tree will make one final stop at Joint Base Andrews on Thursday before reaching its final destination in Washington, D.C. to be part of the nation's holiday celebrations.
It is really starting to look like Christmas out there, as tonight we have a lot of snow in the area with an overnight low of 30 degrees. As we look further into the weekend, on Saturday we have temperatures at 48 degrees, and on Sunday we have a temperature of 53 degrees. And now these clouds are going to stick around for a few days as we don't really see much sunshine through the next few weeks.
That's going to do it for our broadcast tonight. Thanks for watching. For Grant Kiefer, Steve Nedlick, and Emily Dietz, I'm Noah Cavan.
And I'm Rosie Wong. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. Have a great night.